Imagine becoming a star overnight. Now imagine something you've created suddenly becomes the talk of the town, or in 2019 terms, the internet. Now imagine taking that creation to a place that you're confident will take it to the next level, at least according to what they told you. Sounds amazing, right? Now imagine investing a key moment in your life now and your future with they, or grammatically correct, them. Finally, imagine you get there and nothing is the same. Not the place, the people you met and envisioned working with before, not the style, and certainly not the things they told you. Well, for me, this isn't a far stretch of imagination. Many viewers would like me to put myself on the Stunted Growth screen. And trust me, that story will be a good one in due time, and so will this, because I can definitely relate to those imaginations. Today's feature is a couple guys that had to live out those imaginations all in the public eye. JAHVON QUINERLY, born November 25th, 1998, and Isaiah Washington, born July 20th, 1998. Yo, it's your boy JC, Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man. First off, I gotta say how much respect I give to these guys for creating something that grew organically, took the internet by storm, and has a chance to be interesting now and possibly after basketball. Jelly! Let's get into why for now the brand is abruptly on hold. 6'1" Isaiah Washington, part of the 2017 class, is a Bronx native and attended St. Raymond's High School for boys. He was ranked a 4-star recruit by his senior season and racked up offers from schools like Seton Hall, Rutgers, Providence, Georgia Tech, DePaul, and of course, the Minnesota Gophers. Washington is a former New York Mr. Basketball, CP3 Elite Camp Guard, and Jordan Brand Classic participant. In the game, he played 23 minutes, had 20 points, and 15 assists, and at least 5 jellies. By the end of the season, he was headed to Minnesota to play for Rick Pitino's son, Richard Pitino. By this time, he was known as the King of the Jelly, the predecessor, the face of what it meant for little guards to have something cool they could run behind. He made the layup special again in an environment where everyone is being called Baby Westbrook. He was a beast in high school. Ask Trayvon Duval. 6'1" JAHVON QUINERLY, on the other hand, is a part of the 2018 class, the Jelly descendant, the prince and Madonna of the brand. He was the guy that was going to take the movement to the next level. Had he have a great first year where he was able to position himself to be a one and done, the brand would be currently taking over the game of basketball. He was actually a 5-star recruit from Jersey City, New Jersey, born only a few months after Isaiah Washington. Former New Jersey Player of the Year, back-to-back by the way, McDonald's All-American, and recruited by major schools like Syracuse, UCLA, Arizona, Kansas, Connecticut, and of course, the Villanova Wildcats. Stunt number 1, hindsight is 20/20. Foresight is blind. This sentiment can apply to 90% of not just basketball, but people in the world. It's like saying, if I just had a do-over. In the moment, we all make decisions, whether we're forced to or simply fall into. Javon was in a situation where he literally fell into the Villanova Wildcats' lap. You see, he wanted to be the next in line of great Arizona guards, playing warm weather and away from the pressures of being at home on the East Coast. But because of the 2017 NCAA corruption scandal, which accused him of taking $15,000 from an assistant coach at Arizona, he reopened his recruitment and ended up at what he would later call his second choice for a reason, Villanova. Look, I don't know what he was promised before attending, but I'm also certain he didn't plan on ending up in a situation that would cost him years off of his career. Washington's situation was slightly different. He chose the Gophers of Minnesota. This is a place he actually wanted to be and gave 2 years of his life so far. When he made the commitment, I didn't understand it at all. I think a place like Georgia Tech, Providence, and even Rutgers would have been a lot better situations. Isaiah enrolled at the university and immediately brought his jelly star power to the program. Their TV ratings jumped tremendously, but something was off. Washington immediately seemed not to fit into what the program was doing. Whether he was too flashy or too whatever, he didn't receive the minutes he was promised at that point, only averaging around 20 minutes per game through the first 10 and averaging around 8 points per game. Upon watching him, I could see his flaws. Washington was straight New York to the core. His game was just too street. Even when he tried to change it up, it was still raw. He also wasn't a very good finisher at the rim, and that hurt him. Stunt number 2, size matters, but only to the ones without it. Both these guys being 6'1", listed, did not help their game, especially in the time we live in. The internet has this way of making anything seem larger than itself, and that's what happened to both these guys. The internet made them seem a lot better than they actually were, and when it was time, they were exposed. In Washington's case, being an under-the-rim player without supreme finishing skills killed his chances of living up to his name. Quinterly ended up at Villanova and immediately regretted it. By December 12th, just 1 month into the season, he posted his frustration on IG, saying how the school was actually his second choice. This came after he had about 5 games playing under 10 minutes and going scoreless. In his case, being a smaller guard without leaping ability or a deadly shot held him to that bench, and I'm sure made his life a living hell. Stunt number 3, happy trails. Washington ended his first year averaging 8 points per game and 2 assists per game in 20 minutes, enough to make him come back to school for a second season, where he saw even less minutes at 16 and points at just 4 points per game. Javon, in his one frustrating year, actually looked really solid to me when he did get in the game, like the game against UConn where he had 10 points and 4 assists in 25 minutes. He ended the season averaging 3 points per game. By the end of the season, which was also the end of Washington's season, the Jelly fam just announced the news that they both would be transferring and looking for greener pastures elsewhere. This hurts them because now they will have to sit out a year before even having the opportunity to compete. This puts Washington at 4 years removed from high school when he does play, and 3 years for Quinterly. I can't say how happy I am for both these guys though. Washington simply made the right decision. I've never been a big fan of his because I just don't think his style will lead to wins on the next level. He doesn't have the speed, shooting, passing, defense, finishing, or leadership abilities to be successful on a high level. Hopefully he finds his way and makes something out of what he already created so far. I've always loved Quinterly though, as a prospect that has a style and intangibles that can lead to wins. His quickness is amazing. The way he changes speed, I haven't seen from a young guard in a long time, believe it or not. I think whatever school he chooses needs to put the ball in his hands and let him win games with his intangibles. Secretly, I'm hoping he chooses a place far away from the East Coast style of basketball. A place like Cal would be a perfect fit. I could see him in Cali somewhere, there or UCLA, depending on what Jalen Hands does. Either way, wish these guys the best and hope they can both have breakout seasons at their new locations. Choose wisely, man. 2020 foresight, my niggas. It's your boy JC, Stunted Growth, and I'm out.